Welcome to Web3 and Me, presented by FLOLiO. I am your host, Jeremy Weber, and I am joined, as always, by my man over in the Netherlands, Mr. Daniel Vondelok. Dan, how are we doing on this lovely Tuesday? Crypto is pumping. The
Yeah,
market is getting a little bit crazy after, a lull mid last week. We got a lot to catch up on from the weekend. So, man,
yeah.
how are you doing? How are you feeling about everything?
Good, good. It's sunny outside. Market's looking up. Well, at least the crypto market's looking up. NFT's been interesting. We've seen Moonbirds go crazy. What was it, like 70,000 volume in like a hot 2 days or something?
I think it did close to 50 in 24 hours. I mean, it's set, in one day. Let's just get right into it. So that's where we're going to
Yeah,
start our
let's do it.
weekend recap. Let's just get right into it. So Moonbird set all sorts of records. They passed a whole bunch of projects that have been around for almost a year now
Yeah,
in total volume in one day,
yeah.
which is absolutely insane.
The blue
So
chips as
it
well,
was
right?
let's not
Quote
throw around the
unquote,
term blue,
like
the
as they
quote
say, right?
unquote blue chips, right?
Yeah,
Like, come on now. This market's been around in this infancy for not
yeah.
very long. So, and calling anything a blue chip is a bit ridiculous. But it seemed like there was a ton of money coming from outside of your the traditional NFT
Yeah.
collectors. It seemed, from what I could tell, a lot of people rocking Moonbirds PFPs on Twitter who set up their Twitter accounts in March and April. What I assume is some VC and tech money that has been waiting to get
Mm-hmm.
involved in this project, and it was pretty remarkable to see the run up. You and I were on with a few of the other FLOLiO guys, staying on top of our tracking data, and it was just crazy to
Yeah.
see. The pre-mint happened an hour before. For the Proof Collective holders, that happened an hour before the public sale to all the raffle winners, and right off the bat, the floor was like 14 for the initial people, and those started to sell. The floor started to dip. We saw it get into the mid sixes, which I think those were bought up by bots pretty much immediately. Like, I don't think you
Yeah.
or I would have had a chance at one of those if we were going for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the floor just kept going. Like,
Yeah.
it just didn't stop. Like, I remember going to bed Saturday night and it was at like, I don't know, 15 or 16. I woke up Sunday and it was at like 18. I was like, oh, this is just going to keep going forever. I mean, it felt like it was destined to get to like 25 or 30. And I think it stopped just shy of that 25 number in like the mid 20s or mid 22s, like low 23s.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's pulled back now, which is expected. But man, it was
What a run up,
absolutely
yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
It's funny. A friend of mine, he said like, "Oh, if it gets past 10, it's gonna go to 13 real quick." And I was like, "There's like 900 listed between 10 and 13. I don't really see it happening overnight, right?" And then I went to sleep. I woke up and it was at 13. So I was like, "Okay, I stand corrected." Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely been crazy.
As we speak, the floor is just about 18 and it's knocking on the door of 75,000 Ethereum in total volume. So
Yeah.
it's been a wild few days for Moonbirds. The question now is, can they continue to build on this? We've heard that nesting is going to be happening,
Mm-hmm.
starting later this week or early next week.
Okay.
One feature that one of the team members, Ryan Carson, tweeted out about yesterday was discussing issues that they've seen in the past with other projects where if you stake an NFT, it can't be sold, but people will go and like list for way below floor to try to manipulate the floor price and drive down the floor so they can buy more. And how with Moonbirds, as soon as you list it, I believe it becomes like denested. So, or I'm sorry, yeah, if you list it, it can be sold while it's still being staked. So it's not like a
Okay.
hard staking process. So if you have your Moonbird staked and you want to go undercut the floor by 30% to try to scare other people into lowering their listings, yours can be bought up immediately and you can be kind of shit out of luck. So I do think that that's a smart feature of it. They've
Mm-hmm.
hinted that different traits will get different rewards based on nesting.
Okay.
The hoodie Moonbirds are going to get like exclusive Moonbirds hoodies, and I'm not sure. We have some really cool looking ones like the one of ones and the X
Yeah.
copies and the squiggles. So there's a lot of potential there for some really cool airdrops and future utility based on the nesting feature, which if they deliver early on, it could be one of those situations where this runs up to a 50 ETH floor. with the amount of money that is coming into the ecosystem right now.
Yeah, I found it pretty surprising to see that floor near 25 because if you look at the floor of their Genesis project, right? So their pass, like I'm not sure what else to call it. Was it like
Yeah, their proof
90 ETH?
collective pass.
Yeah, was it 90 or was it like 70 ETH ish? I think it was like 70 after the minting of Moonbirds. So that's like 3 Moonbirds would pay for 1 pass. That's a weird ratio.
Yeah, so I was keeping an eye on that too. It dropped down to about the lowest I saw it get to is I think like 70, but it's already rebounded, and as of right now, the floor on the collective pass is at 88. So
Okay.
it is, there's not, and it's a quick run up there. Only a few of them till you get back to 100. So yeah, the ratios, and this is where I think you can't really compare
Yeah.
the original project to the companion project. Like this is not a perfect comparison of
Yeah.
apes to mutants. Like
Yeah.
you can't use the past has a ton of utility, but it's not like a profile picture thing, right? And so yeah, that 5-to-1 ratio that we've seen for a ton of projects, apes and mutants, Azukis and Beans, World of Women and World of Women Galaxy, that same ratio I don't think is really a good standard to use for a project that has a 10-to-1 supply ratio like Moonbirds does to the proof collective
Yeah.
pass. It just doesn't make
Exactly.
any sense,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I
So
definitely agree.
the Moonbirds, they stole the show this weekend. And it was interesting. There were a lot of people predicting that it would be a huge weekend because the money from that would trickle down. And we didn't see that happen like Saturday night or Sunday. All the focus was still on Moonbirds. But we have started to see that over the last, I would say, 24 hours. I posted from the FLOLiO Twitter account, follow us at FLOLiO_, that there are 6 different projects as of this morning that had 24-hour volume of 1,000 Ethereum or more, 1,000 ETH or more. And that's the most we've seen since not even last week. I was looking at the charts every morning last week, and it seemed like people were just not even spending their Ethereum or their ETH because they wanted to sit and wait
Yeah.
to see what happens with Moonbirds, to see what happens with Yugaverse, and also projects like Murakami, which we'll talk about here in a second. But that profit has started to trickle into other projects. We saw Mutant Apes hit a 30 ETH floor for the first time ever this
Wow.
morning. So we've definitely, and we saw a big run up from the low 26s up to 30 now, in the last day. So profit is starting to move around. People are taking that Moonbird money, and I hope they set some aside for taxes next year, because that's definitely a short-term capital gain. But
Yeah.
people will worry about that next April. So it's interesting to see where that money is flowing. Have you noticed anything either, Dan?
I haven't noticed a lot of trickle down money, honestly. But it's interesting that you say that the mutants they went up quite a bit, but I don't think the normal apes did they?
No, they've just been kind of chilling. There's all sorts of rumors going around about the other side land drop that I think is going to happen later this week. We have the 1-year anniversary of BAYC, so it makes sense that something like that would happen. And the belief is that, based off of the previous pitch deck, that apes and mutants will each receive 1 parcel of land per NFT. So as of right now, there's nothing to say that there's extra value in holding an ape when it comes to land, and that has been dictating the price. So I'm not super surprised by that. It's good to see the apes are, holding strong
Yeah.
around, 108 ETH, I believe it was last time I
Yeah.
saw. So actually it bumped up because I guess there have been some sales. But yeah, we're seeing that money flow in with the anticipation of the Yugaverse, other side, all that good stuff, that land coming soon.
Yeah. Looking forward. I still thinking about picking up some ape coin. I really should,
Yeah.
but
It's there have been quite a few threads on Twitter talking about why people think it will or will not happen in ApeCoin. One that does make a lot of sense as to why it won't happen in ApeCoin is that would take a lot of the ApeCoin supply and put it back in the hands of Yuga Labs, which they could use. There's I could see both sides of it. You know, the side saying that they will do it is like, oh well, they're going to need that for the play to earn game anyways, and this would be a good way to accumulate more. The other side being, or the other argument being, you know, that's a huge supply to have in the hands of Yuga. If they do that, they would have to liquidate plenty of it to cover, because they have tax
Yeah.
liabilities as a business too. They would have to liquidate a ton of it. That would kill the market price of it. So
I
I
wonder.
could see it going either way, and I honestly, I'm not sure at the moment how I want to play this.
Yeah.
You know, because it doesn't seem like ape coin staking is going to happen anytime soon. So holding, you know, setting aside ape coin for that seems like it's not the best play in the world. You know, we had RDM on a few weeks ago to talk about it. It seems to me like it's months away. So there's it could go either way as far as like it could run up if they announce this, it could run up to $18, $20 a coin. If they announce it's going to be an ETH, I could see it going back into the nines or even eights.
Then it
You know,
might be,
I'm no
then it might be a good buy as well.
yeah, I'm no expert on crypto pricing, but that's just kind of
Yeah.
my gut feeling there. So
Yeah.
let's get into another winner from the weekend, and that was the Murakami Flowers seeds. You and I are not holders of this project. I think that Murakami's art is great and all, but it doesn't really seem to fit into the Web3 mindset of, you know, decentralization. We've seen it with his Clone X, you know, pieces that if you have a Murakami trait Clone X, you can't really do a whole lot with it because of the terms of service that are tied to it. So these seeds, they had a huge demand. Current floor on them around 6 ETH. Not something that I'm particularly interested in. I know 1-800-Flowers, they went ahead and picked up a Murakami flower seed, and they did a whole post about it. And, you know, it's cool, I guess, but not really my thing.
Yeah, and they're not really. I wouldn't really call them a winner of the last week. They had their they did their raffle yesterday, and they saw like a ton of volume, 12,000 volume on a single day. It's still insane, even comparing to Moonbirds, for example. But yeah, they went down on the 15th. Their floor was 9.2 ish. Now they're back down to 6, so they definitely got a little one of those post public mint hits. But yeah, I agree. It's even on their OpenSea they say if you buy a Murakami flower NFT, you do not reserve commercial rights in the corresponding artwork, which is kind of strange to me. Honestly, I don't see it. Oh, you might be muted.
I
don't know how you did it, but you found a way.
I sure as hell did. I don't think commercial rights are as important as most for the majority of people. Like I am not going to go out and create a business around my ape. We've seen other people do it, and that's great. Like I don't know if you've seen the Bored and Hungry burger joint in California.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
I think that's really cool. For those who don't know, check out Bored and Hungry. I believe it's in Long Beach, California. You can check it out online. You don't actually have to fly to California to like see pictures of it. But you know, the holder of this ape created a burger joint that is Bored Ape themed. Has his Bored Ape on the sign out front. The inside of it is meant to look like the inside of the yacht club.
Wow.
With just like the bar set up and, you know, the artwork in there, which I think is really cool. And it's gained a ton of support from Bored Ape holders in California. You know, I know that Bored Apes have a large contingent in the LA area, and they were all there opening weekend supporting them, which I think is like, I think that's super cool. Say what you want about BAYC and some of the members and how lame we can be, but I think that's a really cool, you know, thing to go out and support someone with. And they're accepting like ETH and ApeCoin as payment there, which I think is pretty awesome. So yeah, the IP rights can be huge for people, but I don't think that it should be a make or break necessarily for the vast majority of holders.
Yeah,
like Daniel, are you gonna commercialize your llama and make like your own llama brand of like?
I'm definitely not creative at all. No, it's just I just find it like I wonder what a business has Like what are they going to do with all of their individual NFTs? I just don't really understand. Like I understand that you have IP, right, and you have the rights over your whole collection. I just don't understand. I just don't see why you would need the rights to each like individual NFT. I don't really understand that, honestly.
I To me, one of the issues is I think a lot of these projects want to make sure that the holders don't do anything with the IP that could damage
Hmm.
the overall reputation of the brand,
Yeah, I could see
right? Like,
that.
I think they want to make sure that doesn't get into the hands of someone who's going to make something that is seen as untoward or disrespectful, and that they want to protect themselves, which I understand that, but it's also not in the spirit of Web3 to keep all of this stuff centralized. So once again, it's cool. Murakami is obviously a legend in the art world, which I'm not super familiar with, but heard nothing but good things. And so this could be a cool project. We'll see what he has in store for it. Now, another reveal that happened yesterday was that it turns out, Daniel, that the beans that people gave or received from the Azuki airdrop are literally just, in fact, beans. Could you have could you have seen something like that coming?
No, I was very sure it was just going to be a box of dirt. Turns out they're actual beans.
Yeah, so Azuki announced yesterday that it is actually just beans. They're pretty cute. You know, there's a red bean, there's a blue bean. One of them's like skateboarding around on an Azuki labeled ledger. The
Yeah,
blue
very
one
cool.
seems the blue one seems like he's kind of the bad boy between the two of them. Like he's seen spray painting a wall and like peeing on a wall. So the and it would appear that the beans can like hang out with your Azuki and like kind of ride on their shoulder. And there's gonna be a lot more to this. Like I don't think people who are freaking out who are like, oh my god, it's literally just a bean. Just give them some time. It's
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay. We saw a similar reaction when mutants happened with Bored Apes back in August and September, where the price fell and people who were selling their mutant for 4 ETH, last
Wow.
year are now kicking themselves when it's going for 30. So if you believe in the Azuki team, let's see how this plays out. I would not
Yeah.
just like panic and sell your bean for 4.5 because don't know exactly what's going to happen with it.
Yeah, I saw a really good write up, and I wish I could remember and bring it up on screen. But I saw a write up on Twitter about how um, the Azuki devs are kind of trying to approach the Asian market with this a little bit more, because apparently there's a ton of like little like chibi is what it's called, chibi little like small characters, and
Mm-hmm.
also on their chat app in Asia, I believe they have these stickers and they sell, and they make like $500 million a year selling those stickers on chat apps. So those
Wow.
beans are very reminiscent of those as well, and stuff like no, I can't even think of the name, but at least I saw a really good write up about it, and that really made me interested. Like, oh, okay, like that's how that works, I guess. And I wish I could remember the post, but you know, I like the angle at least.
Yeah, I have my beans. I'm not panicking. I'm gonna let this play out. If you were super bullish on Azuki 3 weeks ago, I don't see how anything has changed.
Yeah.
I think part of the reaction to it could be that people have seen the run up that Moonbirds happened, and there's a ton of FOMO, and now they're just like, oh, my project's going down, this one's going up, I need to panic sell. We've seen the Azuki floor dip a little bit. This is always going to happen, and we talk about it constantly. Of this is when people who are level headed and can maintain a thesis behind what they're buying and
Hmm.
stick to that, even during times of FOMO. And I wouldn't even call this FUD, but just during these
Yeah.
these cycles of hype and regret, if you can maintain a level head and stick to your game plan, you can do very well for yourself. And if you're a new person into the space, it doesn't have to necessarily be Azuki, because I'm not going to pretend like that's a small amount of money. It's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can see this with other projects too. And Daniel, we saw a lot of these mid-range projects dipping during the week. The low to mid-range stuff, things like Alien Friends and Lazy Lions and Coolman's Universe.
Yeah.
These projects that we saw going for 2+ ETH not that long ago Some of them are now below 1 ETH or in the low ones. So this speaks to that too. Of if you see a project that you like and you dive in and you research it and you talk to the team in Discord, you interact with people on Twitter, and you can determine like, okay, this is something I like. I want to be involved long term. Like right now is a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these things will not bounce back, but some of them will and could take off and do really, really well in the coming months. There's cycles to this, and it seems like April is going to be all about blue chip projects and the ones that are in it for the long haul. The alleged blue chips,
Yeah.
and we could see an alt NFT season, if you will, coming up here pretty shortly with this money that's moving around the market.
Yeah. So what I think is that maybe it's just like it's a quick theory on why these projects might be dipping, and from these names that I heard you say, I think most of them had like a huge pump originally through social media, right? Like a lot of hype, a lot of Alien Friends was like hyped up by Gary Vee like a ton, right? And they went up to like I don't even like was it like 4 ETH or something, like 3 ETH?
Yeah.
And maybe they haven't really delivered on their previous like roadmap, or they haven't done too much, and over time they just fades, right? So maybe the lack of conviction in combination with, like you said, like Other Side or Moonbirds, that gives people a lot of reason to sell, right? So that they might want to put their money somewhere else.
Yep. So now, Dan, I want to take an opportunity for you to victory lap Llamaverse. You have been talking to me about Llamaverse for a couple months now, it seems like, and they've had a really great, couple of weeks, months, however long it's been. So take that victory lap real quick. Tell me why you're still so bullish on Llamaverse and what they delivered over the weekend.
Yeah, so Llamaverse went from 4 ETH to around 7 ETH, so it's currently sitting at 6.9 ETH.
Nice.
Yeah, it's to add from what I said in the previous episodes, it's just NFT Llama, the developer behind Llamaverse. They completed their whole roadmap, the whole like roadmap one in less than 2 months, which I think is far more impressive than some other projects that just say like, oh, okay, our roadmap is, we're gonna make an anime, we're gonna make a movie, make a game. Never really going to finish their roadmap ever, honestly. And the one thing that I'm not gonna fault my own backs here, but on their on their roadmap 2, they talked about well, not roadmap 2 is not out yet, but what's coming up is airdrop plus land as well. And I think it's a little bit too generic, too maybe money grabby a little bit, like going on the whole, you guys are gonna get an airdrop and you're also gonna get land. Like it's a little bit too, oh, mutant guys, we're gonna get a mutant, like that type of stuff, Like we haven't read anything about like mutants, and like I hope not, but I just think it's a little bit too generic, maybe too money grabby, maybe. If it pays, then I'm happy, but it does lower my confidence a little bit. I wish they would innovate a little bit more in that regard. But besides, like, yeah, all the FUD aside, they've been building a lot. Their play to earn world is coming along pretty nicely. It should be. I'm not sure when it's dropping, but I think within the month it's gonna drop. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, TLDR, they're building. They have like 95% staked. A lot of new people entering the scene staking, and it's not moving anywhere. Oh, and their marketplace is really cool. They did pretty well on that part.
Okay. Yeah, I see a lot of projects have started talking about building their own marketplace. Something like that where it's a pretty high dollar one, I get it. I've also seen projects that have a floor of like 0.1 ETH and like 30% unique holders. Yeah. And they're just like, we're going to start a marketplace. I'm like, that seems like a really not an ideal way to spend your time and money right now, but it's your project, not mine. And yeah, we've seen this, like the playbook has been created by Yuga of, you have the initial NFT, you have the companion, which was like the dogs for BAYC. And then you kind of have like the enemy almost. So like, I guess you could call mutants like the enemy of the Bored Apes. We'll see. But, Azuki, I think, is kind of going that similar path. Like the beans are the kind of equivalent to the dogs almost.
Like the
and I think
type.
we're probably going to see like an evil Azuki or whatever they're going to call that, down the road. I wouldn't be surprised because they want to keep adding to this story,
Yeah.
and building the lore around it. So, Llamaverse, it's getting to the point where like the land stuff and everyone having their own metaverse is just purely buzzword and trying to build hype. And I'm not sure if Yuga's going to be able to deliver on it. And they got a ton of money in their war chest to build something great, but there are still concerns around it. Like, they're partnered with Animoca. Animoca's been working on Sandbox for a long time. That still really hasn't delivered a whole lot. So I think if you're banking on a metaverse aspect to a project, like, maybe don't put that into your decision making as much. And to me, like, if a project is super pumping this metaverse they're building, that's almost a red flag at this point. Like, let's see a good one actually happen before we get excited about it.
Right? Yeah. So the only part that, the only part of this that doesn't scream red flag to me is that they're not really bringing it like, oh, we're gonna make a metaverse. Just more like they're creating like a play to earn NFT world, right? Okay. So it's not as much.
Is it like one of the NFT worlds that they bought and they're building on that?
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
So, yeah. That to me is much less concerning, because when you have NFT worlds that is focused on building their product and you have Llamaverse building on that, I think that's a little bit better than if they were undertaking this huge endeavor. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's not like they're like, oh guys, we're gonna create the next metaverse,
Okay.
So I'm still. I think when I minted it, I was like, I'll consider selling at around 8 ETH. And now we're close there. I'm like, ooh, that's gonna be hard. I don't know if I do want to sell.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna stick to your guns, or are you gonna just let it ride?
Yeah, I think I'll stick to it. On Twitter I said, I think 2 days ago, that I can definitely see 10 ETH before the end of second quarter. So.
And Ryan kind of mentioned it when he came on our show. Some of these projects, like, you hold the cow, but you sell the milk. Like, if there's future airdrops coming to Llamaverse, maybe you sell those future airdrops, but you keep your initial llama if that's going to provide more value in the long run. So I don't think that's the worst way to go about it. Yeah. Let's jump into a quick little look ahead for this week, because we have a few things that are confirmed and a few big things that are just speculation. So let's jump into the confirmed ones first. We have the Akutar Dutch auction on Friday. Now, for those who've been listening for a while, we have talked about Aku Dreams quite a bit. We both held the random trait Akutar mint passes, and we both sold them for a profit, but way below what the floor is now. So these have started to get a lot more attention. I know there have been many people who are, pretty active in the NFT space that didn't know what these were. So we were on top of it. The floor price as we speak is 3.2 for the random Akutar mint pass. For those who didn't watch on Friday, I sold mine for 0.75. Dan sold his for 0.8. So not the best thing in the world. I still, like we talked about before the show, Dan, there's a lot more supply coming, which is why I love Aku. I hold every chapter. I think it's a great project. I don't understand this price, and I'm not sure people realize that another 5,500 random trait mint passes are coming this Friday in a Dutch auction.
Yeah, because you still hold 2 OG and 1 Mega OG, right?
Yes.
Have you considered maybe selling those?
I've considered listing them for a pretty substantial price, like putting one of the OGs up at like 10 ETH and then putting the Mega at like 35. I mean, I couldn't really be upset if that sold.
Yeah.
Dingaling and some other high value collectors, guys with big followings, have started picking up some of these mint passes, and they've been getting the OG trait ones because there is an arbitrage opportunity there of, the price ratios just don't add up as far as what the supply is going to be. So the Dutch auction is going to happen on the 22nd. We don't know the starting price yet. What we do know is that this is actually going to be a legitimate Dutch auction, in that everyone will end up paying what the final price is when it sells out.
I like it.
So people have been slandering your country and the Dutch people by actually not doing a Dutch auction properly all this time. A Dutch auction, the way it's supposed to be, is not you just pay whatever it is and then it slowly goes down. It's everyone pays what the price is when it sells out. So now
Interesting.
it becomes this game of like, are people going to all kind of coordinate and let it go down to a lower price, or are people just going to rush in at the beginning and scoop these things up?
Yeah, I think the second one.
Yeah, you think people are going to? I think
Yeah,
it all depends. If the
on the
start, like,
starting price.
it'd be interesting if they started the price at whatever the mint pass was, like 24 hours before or 12 hours
I
before.
can see
Like
that happen. Yeah, it's
if
fair,
on
honestly.
if on Thursday night the pass is still trading at 3 ETH, maybe they'll start the Dutch auction at 3. In
But
which
that's fair,
case,
right? Isn't it?
I
I'm not sure.
I think that's fair. And then I think that creates an interesting dynamic of where it sells out at.
Yeah, because like how like if the floor is 3 ETH and you started at 3 ETH, I think that's fine, right? Like you could buy it and have it. It's similar to buying on OpenSea. It's
Yeah,
just
and
that okay.
sorry, I should clarify. So it sounds like there's gonna be another snapshot on the 21st for people who have a mint pass, and they're gonna get dropped their Akutar. And the Dutch auction on Friday is not for a mint pass; it is for the actual Akutar itself. So I think be careful, and we'll talk about this on our Friday show. But as we get more information, but be careful on Friday after the Dutch auction of buying the mint passes, because
Oh yeah.
those will still be out there, but they'll be worthless. So just something to keep in mind as we get closer to that. I wanted to drop that in before I forgot.
Yeah.
Anything else to put a bow on Akutar's Dutch auction, Dan?
Um, Not really. I mean, it kind of hurts looking at the project, honestly. Just knowing what could have been. I was thinking about picking up 4 of those mint passes on 4 different wallets,
Yeah,
and then looking back, it's like, oof, I wish I did, but
it didn't have to
like,
be 4 different wallets either. You could have picked up multiple chapters and kept them in the same wallet and gotten dropped that
yeah, but
number.
then you would get one OG and then one normal one, and I think I
That's
would rather
true.
have four normal ones, I think. Um, But yeah, I weighed the pros and cons, and I was like, you know what? I'm happy with a zero point 0.6 investment instead of like a 2.2.
Yeah,
Looking back, could have been like 12 ETH, but hey,
there are always going to
that's
be
how it
regrets in
goes.
the NFT space, Dan. You got to
Yep.
learn to celebrate the small wins. So we also have a potential monolith reveal later this week as well.
Yeah.
Do we know any additional information from the Artifact team
Nope.
around that? No.
Nope. No.
Okay.
No. They're just next. No, just kidding.
The final quest did start up though, correct?
Yeah. So the final quest did start, and they completed the first challenge within that. So
Okay.
all these quests they range from easy to hard, or like easier to harder. And this is the final one, so this being the most the hardest quest of all 4.
Hmm.
And I think they might have the second challenge today, or maybe the day after. And the team said if they keep up like this, they'll definitely solve it before the end of the week. And then I assume the second they finish it, it might reveal instantly, or maybe the team has to like flip a switch. I assume they have to do that as well. But I don't think I think they're ready, honestly, because there were some
Yeah.
some test net things that they were doing on what's it called, Rinkeby, I think, and they were transferring like revealed monoliths like back and forth to each other. So I guess that they were like already like playing around with the reveal and like see if it works and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's should be happening later this week, and I'm looking forward. They've been teasing a lot of like saying a lot about time and AI and how it's like, oh, they've been waiting for it super long, and there's like some really weird like a rumor going around. Someone said that in like the Japanese Nike office or something weird, one of the
Hmm.
CEOs apparently was there, and another employee who overheard that the CEO was like really excited about it or something. So it's a really really weird and obscure rumor. But apparently, that's the story that the Nike CEO is like very excited for it or something.
Yeah. It sounds like from teasers on Twitter from Benito, one of the
Yeah,
heads of Artifact, that it's going to be very innovative, is what he's saying. So it's going to
yeah,
be different. Don't expect it to be like another PFP. Like it could be something very different that we've never seen before. So interested in that. And then, finally, we have the 1-year anniversary of Bored Ape Yacht Club, like I mentioned earlier. Speculation going crazy. People have these fake alpha leaks pretending like they know more than they actually do
Yeah.
about who's going to get what with the other side land. Are the projects that were featured in the other side video, like World of Women and Cool Cats and Cryptodes, are they going to receive a whitelist spot to get the land? None of this is confirmed. No one has confirmed anything. So I would not make any trading moves based on speculation. We've seen that backfire so many times before with people. Like, you make your bets if you want to, if you think that we're gonna see that happen, but don't be surprised if something totally different happens and you see the value of that NFT you bought into decline rapidly when we don't get that same news. So, the from what I can tell, the 1-year anniversary of the project launching is April 22nd. That's when the initial apes were minted by the founders. Other people say April 23rd, which would be Saturday. So sometime this weekend, I think we're going to get, maybe similar to ApeCoin, like a 12 to 24 hour notice of like,
Yeah.
hey, land is coming. Or it could be one of those things where we just wake up Friday morning, Saturday morning, and it's been airdropped and there's an announcement on when the public sale is going to happen. I don't know. But, we're seeing ApeCoin start to go up. We're starting to see the mutants, like we said, hit that 30 ETH floor. Something is coming, and it's going to keep a lot of attention, focused there, and a lot of liquidity tied up, people waiting for this land. So on Friday's show, I hope we have a little bit more information. If we don't, we'll just keep, wildly speculating like every genius who knows everything on Twitter. That's going to be our game plan. Okay, Dan?
Yeah, it sounds great.
All right. Anything else you're looking forward to this week before we put a bow on it for today?
This week, honestly, just Monolith mainly. It's been in the works for a long time. The team said they've been waiting on this for like 2 years or something. So, yeah, I'm very curious. I hope it delivers. If it doesn't, like other than me losing money, it's also like I love like innovation, and I really hope that they do that right. Like I hope they really change something in the industry. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. And a happy 420 tomorrow for everyone who celebrates celebrates the holiday. Make sure that you're eating the correct dosage of edibles so that you don't end up freaking out and messing with your NFT wallet. Okay, we don't want any horror stories of someone putting down 100
Waking
milligrams
up.
of edibles, and next thing you know that they've spent all their money on some stupid NFT project. I'm sure we'll hear about something like that. So that will do it for today. We will be back on Friday for our regular live show where we're going to recap any news from throughout the week. I imagine we'll hear some cool stuff that's coming along the pipeline, and I will, we'll keep going from there. So head over to FLOLiO, check out your holdings there, check out our browser extension, continuing to add more projects with trait floors, continuing to make improvements to the website. So FLOLiO.com, sign up, link your account. Please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, share us far and wide. We want to try to continue to bring as much information as we can to as many people as we can. So for Dan, for the rest of the team at FLOLiO, I am Jeremy. Have a great week, everybody. We will see you on Friday.